Hello everyone, Coach Carole back with you today on the 15th of January. Today it's time for Livecast 15 and tip number 15. And today it's all about being a wise historian. This is something that I have been working on in the last few weeks on how to help people use things for helping them to become wise historians, as well as genealogists and tracking down your ancestors. Let's go and have a look at my slide for today. Hoping that you can see that clearly. Maybe make it a bit bigger for you, like so. All right. Today we're going to go behind the scenes. To be a wise historian, we need to do a couple of extra things, such as putting your story in context, find your ancestors in the news, and haunt the house of history. Let's delve into each of those 3 tips for today. Putting your story of your ancestors into context will mean that you will need to research in the online archives or in books from the library or in Google Books for information about the history of the time. So this will help put your story into context if you know a little bit about what's happening in that part of their world and how you can weave that information into your story to make it credible and to engage with your viewers or readers. Recently, I had a look at Google Books, and in particular, I scrolled through to have a look at some of those that were focused on the period of 1841. I'm very much into census records this month, given the recently released 1921 census for England and Wales. But before that, there were other censuses, or is that censi? The 1841 census being a focal point for me in a recent story that I did about an ancestor. So when I looked up in the Google Books, I found that I could read much of the book that had been published long ago about the census. So I found, for example, a book that talked about the pre-1841 census in Britain. And that gave me a great deal of information about the history of the gathering of census in those countries. I took that a step further and found another book in which I could find out how to use the early census information, things from the records taken prior to 1841. And then looking further into Google Books, I could see many more. One of the great writers and genealogists of our time is Chris Payton, and he has written many, many books, and these are under the publisher called Pen and Sword. So I found several of his books there that I could delve into without needing to pay. So Google Books is a really good place to go behind the scenes to get some of the context for your stories. British History Online is something that I particularly was interested in, and I even went to the library to get a library book about World War I. So, of course, you'll know exactly what kind of history you're looking for as you're delving into your ancestry. So don't forget to go behind the scenes with those. Next, you might want to find your ancestors in the news. Now, if you're in Australia and you're looking for information about your ancestor in Australia, there's no better place to look than Trove, which is a collection of old Australian newspapers. And prior to going to Trove, you can use the Ryerson Index, which will help you to locate the actual newspaper, the title, the date, and the day of its publication regarding that particular ancestor you're looking for. So that will save you time. And then when you get to Trove, you can filter down through those newspapers to find the exact records that you're looking for. And they're a wonderful treasure trove of information about your ancestors, things that you might not expect to find. And then my final piece of the puzzle in going behind the scenes today is all about being able to use and listen to the wisdom of your fellow genealogy gurus, I'm calling them today. My favorite is Find My Past. And yesterday, being Friday, they had their Fridays live cast. So I was able to go back and have a little listen to that one today. And I find it really useful to listen to what's being discussed, listen to the expertise of those who are presenting, and to look at the questions being asked by those who are attending. This gives me ideas about what questions I might ask. So that's another way for you to be a wise historian, is to haunt the house of history. In this case, I'm focusing in on Find My Past, Fridays Live. So let me come back to the screen with you now. Get rid of my slides. And remind you that if you want to find out more tips and get these in one place, you can go to my new course, which is the Genealogy Tips for 2022, and you'll find those on my Academy. I'll put the link, of course, in the comments below this live cast for you. So that's coachcaroleonline.thinkific.com. And just look for that particular course. Now, if you want to take it a step further and you're ready to do that, you might then want to take a course on genealogy research. And the one that I am showing you now is one that I recommend that you go to next, where I'm giving you lessons in how to use your research smartly. And all of this is self-paced at a reasonable price of $47. So that's my tip for today regarding genealogy research and storytelling on the topic of going behind the scenes to be a smart historian. So I hope you've enjoyed today's live cast, and I will be back with more. Bye for now.